Muses, where we talk about only things that are awesome. And one thing that is very awesome, in my humble opinion, is the Wheel of Time. We are, discussing today the Path of Daggers, the 8th book of the Wheel of Time. And if you have not been reading it, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and begin, not yesterday, but today, and do not watch a terrible TV show. And once again, we have with us another first-time reader. I'm a first-time reader. It is the man himself, Brian Nordporiel. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, the Path of Daggers. This one is actually not very long, relatively speaking. It's one of the shorter ones, and I liked it. I've been liking everything because I just love sitting in this world and just living with Robert Jordan and his world. And so I love it. And I love the girls. I love the Aes Sedai. I know some people aren't as crazy about it as others are, but I just like sitting and enjoying the world with them.
Okay. Well, I'm really happy that I'm really happy that you're getting something out of this. When I read this, I went into this with a lot of, with my expectations all the way down to, as they say in Wheel of Time, the pits of doom. So my expectations were extremely low for this. I've seen a lot of videos. One channel in particular, Mike's Book Reviews, had nothing but bad things to say about this one. And from where he's coming from, I kind of understand why, because it's a very different book from what RJ is, known for writing. Like, this one didn't really have an epic climactic ending, so to speak. I mean, there was some climax, there was some, tension, some suspense at the very end, but it didn't have the same type of, climax where, Rand is chasing a Forsaken. It's a shame. I would have rather had a Forsaken chasing him.
Oh, no. Well, I'll tell you, I know what you mean, and we'll get to this. I found the ending so sad. It was so sad. So we'll get there, because they're starting to see the Ashaman having the price that they are paying for being so quickly in with this one power. Well, first of all, they're all going to go nuts anyways at this point in the story, regardless. But then, they're just going full throttle. They're like, hey, the final battle's coming, so we're going to go balls to the walls and do what needs to be done and put everyone on a fast track. And gets a little dark. Gets a little dark about how they deal with the ones that start to go nuts. But before we talk about that, we're going to talk about people who are not nuts and not crazy. It is DJ Play Nice stopping by to say hey and leave a like. Thank you. Much appreciated. Make sure all your subscriptions active and that the alert bell set to all. Yes, please do. Thank you for that. And shout out the live. Hey, all, it is Rebel Rose YouTube. Yes, hello. We love our animals here at Miss Smart Muses. Actually,
I'm allergic to that cat, by the way.
Wow. Okay. Well, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I got my Zyrtec right over here, so if I start sneezing, you'll know why.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what. My kitty cat here that looks almost exactly like that, including the psychotic expression. Oh, that's me. And it's Nosferatu, the vampire. Always good to have the supernatural creatures visit us. Oh, please tell Judge Poriel to finish Blood Meridian.
Yeah, the judge is bald like me, and one of the most evil villains of all time. I haven't finished it because I read a part that was truly horrible.
Oh, I've heard about that book.
It's not for everybody.
Well, yeah. That'll definitely keep that one in mind. And
like it breaks every frickin' taboo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Steve Kenobi is here. Hello, Steve. Hope all are well.
My Huckleberry.
Yeah. Yep. There we go. And Blood Meridian is on my list of stuff to buy. Oh, well, there you are.
I loved I loved you guys talking the outlaw Josie Wales. That was a great stream, by the way. If you're gonna do another one, if you're gonna do another Eastwood, you gotta do High Plains Drifter.
Okay, well, we might get around to that. Now, our next one is the Wild Bunch for our cowboy campfire. So,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that's going to be.
After the fight, very end. Wow.
Oh, that's everything I've heard about it. Yes.
Yeah.
So Steve chose that one. So kind of the way it works is I choose one, then he chooses one. So if you want to all see that, I do have it on my community post. So yeah. What someone's a huckleberry, someone's a daisy, but you know what? I love everybody here, and I love this book. Now, the prologue of this one I felt was kind of weak because it was a bunch of people that I'd never quite heard of. Who was it? It was a bunch of rulers. Now I know that he's showing us that stuff is happening, but like it begins with
The
who
borderland,
is it?
the
Names I
borderland
can't pronounce.
kingdoms. Yeah, so
Yeah, the different kingdoms.
you have Queen Tenobia, that's Fail's cousin, Davram Bashir's niece.
Yeah.
Uh, so she's from Saldea. You brought we Agomar comes back from Eye of the World. Lord Agomar of
Mhm,
Faldara. Well, he comes back, and he's one of the what they call the great captains.
mhm,
They're like they're these generals that are the best at they're the best at strategy and they're like master tacticians and all that.
mhm.
So yeah, he's one of them. Davin Bashir's another one. The character I met in Crossroads of Twilight, Rodell, is one of them. Um, what's his name? Pedro Nile, who may he rest in peace. Interesting.
Mhm.
Lord Commander of the White Cloaks, and Gareth Bryn, who's leading Egwene's who's with Egwene right now. So
Yep.
yeah, so we're meeting all these characters. They're coming together because they're like, we haven't seen them. We were like, what's going on in the Borderlands? Because all we've been hearing since probably book 6 that it's been all quiet on the front or on the or up in the up in the Borderlands. So yeah, so they're coming down to find out what this Dragon Reborn's all about, I guess.
Yep. Which is very interesting because they're showing us maybe the geographical stuff that's going on in the sense of I think we've been so stuck in Tyr, Caher, or whatever, or with our characters, we forget that there are these people up in this area. And not only that, the fact that they are on the move and they are going to be seeing what's going to be happening with the Dragon Reborn. Uh, but yeah, when I first read this chapter, I remember thinking, "Who? Wait, help
You
me
know,
out here."
you know what else? And this extends into my current where I'm currently at. I'm missing the Shadow Spawn right now. Like I'm missing
Oh,
them. Like they're eating people and terrifying and ambushing.
yeah,
I miss that. I don't know why. I don't know.
yeah. We need an old-fashioned Gollum massacre, or a Gray Man, or a Trolloc, and all sorts of fun stuff.
Great people, Teresa.
Yeah.
Great people.
Well, in any case, so we have that. So they're moving, and as you said, gave the summary there, and then we have the White Tower. We have Varen, or Venin. I keep dang it. There are so many names that Varen. Sorry, it is
Varen.
Varen. There's another character very similar to her name, so but I know exactly who she is, and I love her. She was brown.
I like her. She's one of the better characters. I liked her since the Great Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
She was one of the more interesting ones.
Yes. And she is a scholar. She's a Brown. And I know something about her now because I have read on, but she definitely has her fingers on a whole bunch of things. And we know that. And of course, everything is kind of going to hell with Aleda. For crying out loud, when all those bitches did their overthrow of Swanson or whatever, why the hell did they choose that psycho woman? Because she is not she's the most
They
un-Amaran like that one could choose.
I just think that she's the one that I mean, we get her point of view in the first chapter of The Shadow Rising, and she just starts to piece things together, and she just randomly comes across Alviarin. Alviarin was passing her, and she was telling Alviarin this. And the reason why I was able to figure out that Alviarin was Black Aja was because of the fact that the white Aja are very, they don't really, they're kind of like, I mean, if you had to compare them to a Star Trek race, they'd be like the Vulcans. Like they're very logical,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really take a whole lot of interest in gossip or or suspicions and all that. But the fact that she did kind of tells me there's something off about her. And so that's kind of why when I was doing, when I was reading this, I kind of predicted that she was Black Hodge, and I ended up being correct because of that. So,
Yeah.
but I think Elviarin stumbled across her, and she saw Elida as an opportunity to cause the schism, which happens in the Shadow Rising, and to kind of protect herself and not think it was her idea, she made Elida think it was hers. So they made Elida the ringleader. So now Elida's kind of doing her own thing, and I think it's in this one where Alviarin puts her foot down.
Mm-hmm. Or tries to. Yes. Because what's happening, of course, is everyone's splitting between the Ajas, and people are they're more faction like. It would be like if on Harry Potter it was like suddenly everyone started treating each other like everyone was Slytherin, or at least if you go by movieverse, it's like no one's trusting each other. And also we know that there's Black Aja. Like I said, not only do we know this particular character you were talking about is a Black Aja, but anyone could really be a Black Aja. Like, we don't know how many there are. It could be 100, it could be 200, it could be 10, it could be 15. But we definitely know that they're there. And I like that mystery that you can't quite guess who it is.
Yeah, and we learn. I don't know if it was this one. I think it was either in this one or the last one. We find out that the Black Aja has been around almost the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
From the very beginning.
And we know that, what's her name? One of the Forsaken is masquerading in the White Tower. Misana. Yes. We don't know who Misana is.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. You're far. You're way farther. You probably know who it is.
No,
I don't know who it is yet.
No, nothing's been revealed. And Zeke says Elida is a carrot. Oh dear, she's the worst of the worst, and a little bit power hungry. Though I do find it really fascinating that she, despite all of that, still has that gift. I forget which one is a gift. The foretelling, where almost her body's taken over, and she'll start like saying things that'll come true.
But the thing is, she always misinterprets. So our mutual friend Prophet the Dragon always just continually tells me that Elida is stupid.
Yeah,
so that she's just a stupid character. She's an idiot, and I'm far enough to realize, yes, she is. So yeah, I forget, is it in this one or what? I think or was it the last one where Elida is basically blackmailed by Alviarin, and then Elida goes to these two Aes Sedai to seek out treason. I forget if it was this one or if it was Crown of Swords. I
think it might have been in this one, or that we already know that it's happening. But yes, indeed, she is stupid. And the fact is, even when I would see her foretellings, that you knew that it wasn't about her, because what was it? She had a foretelling that there would be
Amyrlin,
yeah, and that the tower would be made whole again, or that there would be Aes Sedai walking around the Black Tower, and she interpreted that as being, oh, we're going to conquer them. And I'm like, well, no, that's not what the foretelling said. And just because you're walking around doesn't mean you've necessarily conquered. And Seek says, yes, Elida makes assumption and goes with it, a very strong, straight, and stupid people.
Well, right. she says something. I think I don't remember what it is, but I think it's like something about the Dragon Reborn and the Amyrlin meet, and something happens. Elida assumes that the Amyrlin referred to in her foretelling is her, and not maybe Egwene.
Yeah, or even another one that comes after. Maybe both of them would die. Yeah, she's so dumb. She assumes that she's the center of the universe, and that is her downfall.
Yeah, so I'm kind of disappointed. I was hoping we get to see her evil tower be completed from Crown of Swords, because she was building her own little tower for her own little evil machinations, only for her to be smacked down by Alviarin and the Black Aja. So
Well, we'll see if that happens. Well, I wouldn't mind actually seeing if that gets complete, because I'm always one for architecture as
did you, are
pretentious.
did you if I may be so bold to ask, did you are you done with the Black Aja where you're at in the story? Like, has that been completed?
No,
Really?
it's still a thing. It's well,
Really?
there's things that happen, but I'm not gonna.
You
Because
can't.
first
Well,
of all, it says
obviously.
on the banner, spoilers only up to there, and I know that you haven't gotten there, so I don't want to
Yeah.
give anything away. How about this? Yes and no and maybe.
Okay. That's good enough. That's good enough.
Yeah. Well, and then we see Moradin, and I like this line. He called himself Moradin, and surely no one had ever thought more right to name himself Death. So, yeah, he's the bad guy, and he's the one who everyone should be fearing. Like even the Forsaken fear him. And then he says something here. He goes, in the greater game, Althor moved already to his wishes. So, ooh boy,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's hard to lose a game when you played both sides of the board.
Mhm.
Morden laughed so hard that tears rolled down his face, but he was not aware of them. And that's how the prologue ends. So yeah, he's playing a game based off of what stones, I think, is what it is. I don't remember exactly. It
Yeah. Oh, wait, that's not true, Steve. Be her lesbian plaything. Well, actually, the pillow friends do come up, but or
oh
is that in
yeah,
the
yeah.
TV show? Um, so he was not aware of them. Yeah, so it was a game of what was it? So a Fisher, whatever it was. The Fisher always worked as a man. I don't know. I don't know what game they're playing, but definitely it's yeah, flat out and possibly most men more than felt emotionless.
It's called Shara.
Oh, Shara, that's what it is. Yeah, and there
Yeah,
was
and Shara, Torah, and Nori, the game now simply called Stones, each had adherents who claimed it encompassed all the subtleties of life, but Moradin had always favored Shara. Only
yeah.
9 people living ever remembered the game. He had been a master of it, much more complex than Chirin or Nori. The first object was capture of the Fisher. Only then did the game truly begin. So, yeah, Shara.
Yeah, that was it. And Stones, yeah, we would see Tom playing Stones all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever played Stones? I've never played. So like Stones is a real game, I believe. I've
Oh,
never played
really?
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, that's
it's
interesting.
based off of what was Stones based? It's based off of another game. Stig might know.
Sure. We like a lot of these games, and chess-like games are all around. And games play a big role in it. Like at first you think, oh, they're just randomly playing games. And then you find, oh, it actually kind of works within the story. You have foxes and I would say foxes and hounds. That's not what it is.
Foxes and
Whatever the
snakes.
foxes
Snakes
and
and
snakes, yes. And of course, we have stones and some other things that just I find very interesting that have a way to work themselves into the story and this mythology. Um, yeah. Meanwhile, Gwaine, and I'm not necessarily going to go through chapter by chapter, but this is in general order of what happens. Egwene and all of them are hanging around in uh, the rebel Aes Sedai, the rebel tower, the alternate one, and I don't know. I have a problem with it, and maybe this is just the Catholic in me. That is it legitimate what they did with Egwene? Because I feel like it was if you even if Elena sucked, did they have the authority to raise another Amerlin? I don't.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't hear you. You roboted briefly.
Oh, for crying out loud! I hate my internet sometimes. Oh, I was just saying that maybe the legitimacy of what they did with Egwene, like even though Eleda is a twat, is what they did legitimate and questionable. I
I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
didn't the church do something? Didn't the Catholic Church do something like this? I mean, I think this is where Robert Jordan got a lot of his ideas from.
Yeah, well, there was a situation like that, but it was always assumed that the rebel ones were wrong. So I don't know.
Like, what didn't
We'll
wasn't
see.
like didn't the Avignon Pope kind of start like this or something? Like there was like a
The
schism.
Avignon papacy.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Avignon wasn't that like equivalent in a way, or
No, it wasn't quite the same. What happened there that was when the Pope there was only one pope or one claimant to the papacy where everyone felt like he was the pope, and he had gone to Avignon in France instead of in Rome, and that was a whole thing with St. Catherine Siena. But I do agree with you that it was definitely inspired by this split. And I like the way that they thought, well, we're going to get Egwene doing it, because I thought at the time, like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, raising Egwene up to be the Amerlin seat, because they felt like she was going to be a puppet. I've been seeing this more, and
they
Elaine,
and she would
Egwene
have
started
been
getting in her own.
yeah, and she would have also been like the fall person. Had everything went had this whole movement went south.
Yeah, she would have been executed and not the other people.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So
Oh.
so it's interesting. So we have so I think that like there's I think they're I believe they're marching at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And because of what I know, we haven't gotten to Elaine and Avienda and Brigida and all of them, and all the and what they do. But it's starting to snow, so we're getting storms and all that, and they're basically marching and they're meeting an army, and they're trying to get permission. They're trying to they're it ends up being a very very delicate situation, and they have to handle this they have to handle this well, or or shit's going to hit the fan. I don't know if it's I think it's an Andor army, if I remember correctly, that's ahead of them, isn't it?
I could be. I don't
And
remember
or it's
the
either
details.
Andor and Mirandi. So there's an army. There's an army kind of blocking their way, and I think there and her two lieutenants, or her two advisors, tell her to, I think, defer to them, each of them individually. So
Mm-hmm.
I think what's her name? Ramonda.
Yes.
Ramonda is one, and who's the other one? I forget her name.
Uh,
Uh,
Shiriam or no?
no, not Shiriam. Ramonda and Lelaine. So Ramonda and Lelaine are telling her to, when she addresses the army, that she will defer to one of them. And well, like 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 a true Egwene would do, she doesn't. She asserts her own authority. She asserts her own authority. And I forget, she does something. I forget what she does, but she uses like some old um like tower law to go to war, so that they can't like impeach her or something, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
You know what I'm
yeah.
talking about?
Um, but the details there, I'm not entirely sure. Again, because it's been a while since I've read this one, but um,
Because originally, because of the fact that she went ahead and did what she did, and addressed them as the Amerlin,
mhm.
and was like, I'm planning on taking out Elida. So she just says, we're going to declare war on Elida, not because it's the right thing to do, but to protect herself from them, to keep that, because they're gonna penalize her, and for not relinquishing their control over her, basically. So she
Right.
calls for a vote, and they vote to go to war with Elida.
Yeah, which is almost unheard of at the time. Yes, I recall what you're talking about, because it was very controversial, because the whole idea of Tar Valon, of Aes Sedai fighting Aes Sedai, a civil war within the Aes Sedai, was almost unthinkable. It was bold as brass. And then, of course, it also could have devastating consequences.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why it took so long for them to kind of make a decision. So
Yep.
here they are. So um, they go through all that, and then luckily they can weave gateways, and so they go through a gateway, and voila, they're in Tarvalon. And I still have yet to get to them because they were not in book 9.
Well, they definitely have a fast travel. I just love it. That's what I always imagine. It's like Skyrim. It's like you're going to fast travel there. But speaking of which, that's a huge thing that happens at when we get back to the girls. We get to Nynaeve and Elaine and Avienda. Is Avienda does this thing as they're leaving Ebudar where she unties the weave because she doesn't want the Shan Khan when they come to find the traveling potion, for lack of a better word, or pattern. Because if they were able to fast travel, that would just be the end of everything. And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing, Avienda?" And she's like looking at them like they're ridiculous. It's like, well, undoing a weave, that's just something that's very normal. That's something that we do. What's wrong with you all? So that way they couldn't copy it. And then the next time that happens, Elaine tries it later in the chapter and she causes like a nuclear explosion or something, which thankfully kills a lot of the Shan Khan. But on the other hand, she could have blown up everybody. And
Yeah. So, but what happened was she didn't finish her job. They pulled her away. She was getting wounded left and right by the Shan Chan, and they basically they made a run to get behind this high hill,
mm-hmm,
and one of the demone uh, you know fired something at the gateway, and that's what caused the explosion. So yeah, so it was a battle that actually featured Elaine. I was like, wow. I was like, wow. There's brotherhood in the girl in the Wonder Girls, as some people call them.
mm-hmm,
But yeah, it was Avienda and Brigida and Elaine fighting the Shan Chan and while she's trying to unravel the gate so that they can't read it and recreate it basically. And
mm-hmm.
that was set up based on the end of, I think, chapter 1 or 2, when Avienda actually gets scared. She sees somebody in the distance, and that somebody frightens her, and rightfully so, because that someone that was looking directly at her was Moradin.
Mm-hmm.
And so she basically takes it apart, and Moradin cannot follow them. So Moradin gets upset and accidentally, without realizing it, kills the servant and like destroys like the grating or something. Destroys like the grating in the balcony that he's in or something. And he leaves, and then right after that, the Golem comes back. We get a little Golem point of
Yes.
view, and the Golem is basically just, he's the apex predator. I was asking myself when I was reading that, like, if the Golem turned up when Morden was there, could the Golem have killed him?
I don't know, because to me he seems almost like he's
He's the
unkillable, except
he's the
Nat always
T1.
seems to
He's
get away
basically
from him.
the apex predator of the
Yeah.
story. He's the T1000. I was really wishing that would have loved to have seen a chase featuring the Golem.
Yeah. Well, we are definitely going to see more of him. Yeah, I see this where it's talking about, what I was saying about how he almost seems impossible to say the apex predator, but he says that he had never encountered anything that could harm it until that man with the medallion, because the medallion is like the super talisman of protection or tangriel that he has, that Matt has to protect him
It's that
from.
otherworldly thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And so apparently, I don't remember if they ever go into how they create the Golem, using that otherworldly, the fox and the snake realm, the eelfin and the aelfin realm or something, and
Mhm.
that's why it can hurt him or something. It can hurt the Golem. I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah, I that's the aspect of it. Yeah, we've not really seen.
I don't know. The Golan's been my favorite part of the story so far because he's putting one of the characters through immense fear. In this case, Matt.
Hmm.
So Matt actually has to fight. Like Matt has to fight, and I was actually worried about one thing. I mean, a lot of people call this book sloggy, and it is sloggy. But this was one of the few times where I was worried about Rand. And I know I don't get a little ahead of myself, but
Yeah,
I was actually worried about Rand. By the way, Matt's not in this book, so
not at all. No, I know I missed him.
yeah. So apparently Matt had a wall fallen on him in book 7. So maybe he might be dead. He might be dead.
Yeah. Well,
He might be dead.
no. Yeah. But I like the Gollum. I like the whole serial killer aspect of him, the way he was killing people in Ebadar in the last book, and the way that he's something that they genuinely do tend to fear. Um but meanwhile, so after they do all that stuff, and then Elaine goes her separate way because she's going off to claim her throne. Well, Egwene is already off because she's off to Valar. Valen, she's doing what she's doing. She's going after Aleda, and then the other chicks, they're working with the kin. You see, that's going to be a thing. Were they with the knitting circle and also the sea ladies? Now they've done the.
I
Um,
hate them. I can't stand them.
we haven't seen them a lot, have we? But um, the bowl is something that they've done, that they use finally cure all the problem they have with the weather, and I think that's kind of funny because I saw some jokes online about the way to cure what climate change, quote unquote, is like just get that bowl and it just solves everything. So instead of having it always summer, then suddenly we're going back to having normal seasons, and then the sea chicks just kind of take off with it, and then that's the end of it. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got the both. We finally, after over 2 books, we finally get the payoff to the Bowl of the Winds that started back in Lord of Chaos, the beginning of Lord of Chaos, and it finally happened. They finally used it. They were looking for it all throughout book 7, but they didn't use it yet. They had obtained it, and the very beginning of this book, after bickering on their way to the Kin's village, outside of Abu Dar, they got to go. Like I was imagining, like the stars in Super Mario RPG going up and up and up and spreading out. I don't know. I'm a Mario guy. What can I say? But that's
Yeah.
how I was envisioning the Bowl of the Winds spell. And then all of a sudden, like right after that, one thing I did like about this, the entire world was affected. Winter
Yes.
started hitting everywhere. Well, not everywhere. Where Rand is in Ilion, all the way south coast, not really. Not by the Gulf of the Sea of Storms. I think that's the Sea of Storms down there. The Earth Ocean's on the west. I think Sea of Storms or whatever it is south.
Yes.
I think, or maybe I'm getting another fan. Maybe
Everybody
it's
look
another.
at the map. Well, let's see. The map on the bottom part
Yeah, Sea of
is
Storm. Yeah,
Sea
Sea
of
of Storm.
Storms. Yeah, it is.
I was like, am I getting this world mixed up with Martin's world?
Oh yeah.
So no.
There's only so many maps you can memorize from all these fantasy
The
worlds.
narrow sea is in Martin's world. So, but yeah, in Ilion, there's no snow, but it's kind of cold, and Rand is, Rand's still busy even after book 7.
Mm-hmm.
He's declared king of Ilion, and well, now he's trying to get everyone. He's trying to get all the Ilioners on his side, and so some of the rebels that worked for Samael or Lord Brend, they're like, yeah, I don't know, and then he convinces them that they're like, okay, and then we'll see. You see what happens later on when we get to the battle
Yes.
of this book. So
Yeah, and we'll get to him in a second because there's definitely a lot to say about it. I just wanted to briefly go over with Perrin. Uh, there is a lot of him with the Prophet of the Dragon, the real Prophet of the Dragon, not the not
not
the
not not
YouTuber, not the
not Steve.
no, not Steve. Yeah, but a good deal of what he is doing in this book is basically, I need to find Fael. I love her. I love her. I need her. I love her. So they're going off to find Fael, and he has obviously problems with the Prophet of the Dragon with Messima. But
I think that's book 9.
yeah, well, no, I mean it's here
She
where
gets captured here at the very end.
oh yeah, yes, she does. I'm sorry. Is it at the end of this book that she's kidnapped?
Yes.
Okay.
That book
Well,
9 is what you're talking about.
oh, okay, I
I know.
just
I
talked
would
about
know.
the end of the book. Okay, because I
Yeah,
don't really
that's another.
remember too much about what
That's the
he
other
does
thing.
in this.
Everybody hates that part of book 10 is the whole Fael and
Yeah.
Perrin stuff.
Yeah, well, because basically it's the same thing over and over again. Okay, so we haven't gotten to where she's actually kidnapped. My fault. I was thinking about that in the back of my head. Okay, so yeah, he's. Well, no, she's captured. The Shaidu capture her. That's just...
At the very end.
No, she's at. Wait, if I'm right, am I on the?
Yeah, she's captured in chapter 30. She's captured in the last full chapter.
Oh, okay. So let me see.
Yeah, her and Bane and Chiad and Alejandra and Magdan. We meet Magdan. You know that? Magdan.
Yeah.
So Magdan came with Balwer. She came with Talonvor. She came with Lenny, and what's the hell's his name? The innkeeper from Camelin. I can't think of his name. The fat innkeeper.
Okay.
Who's a Queens man. I forget his name.
Okay, maybe I'm going crazy because I could have sworn that it happened. Because I'm looking at.
Yeah, she gets captured chapter 30.
Okay.
So this book, Perrin is still looking for Messima, or the Prophet of the Dragon, and they start to see like what the Prophet does. They actually hang a couple of the Prophet's men, and they rescue a group of people, and that group of people is basically, Talonvor and Lenny and the rest that escaped from from Amadisia, from the White Cloaks, after the Shan came in book 7.
Yeah.
So now there's a woman named Magdan there with them, but Morghese is gone. Morghese is dead.
Yeah, of course she's dead, and of course we all know who it is, but they don't because of
And so they decide to become servants, and they become part of Fael's group, or Fael's group of servants.
Yeah.
So Magdan now serves her.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking up something here. I'm looking through my notes. Yeah, but other than that, even then, Perrin's really not doing a lot in this book. He pops up now and then.
Yeah. And they're there to try. They're trying to meet. They're trying to meet Alejandra, the queen of Gildan. She was the woman that tried to make a deal with the Prophet in Fires of Heaven. When Nynaeve goes to meet him, she leaves the circus and goes. She goes into the city and meets, Messima, and we find out like just how dangerous and how powerful he actually is. Just a single word and people will do what he says.
Yes, it's the danger of the fanatic that we have with him.
Yeah, and he's calling. He has more power than the queen, so she's trying to make a deal with him. So he's basically the one calling all the shots,
Hmm.
and not her. So she's got little to no power whatsoever. So that's why she sees Perrin and she immediately swears fealty to him.
Yeah, and which is also weird because with a queen swearing fealty to somebody that is technically a lesser lord or something, that it's almost like the inverse of what you would expect, because usually it would be the lord swearing fealty to the queen. And I think that that is something that is also a little confusing sometimes in some of the later diplomacy situations.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh,
know they brought back Elias Machera in this one? We haven't seen him since book one.
yeah. I was gonna say it's, and I hate it when they do that because I'm like, son of a bitch, man. I've been reading about 5,000 pages, and then you pull this with me.
I honestly thought he should have been in the Shadow Rising.
Mm,
He should have been in the Ark with Perrin in the Two Rivers, because they brought back Rain. They brought back those same Tinkers, and
mm-hmm,
that's Aram and all of them. And I think he should have been in the Shadow Rising, and he should have. It would have been interesting to see him witness Aram's transformation from being the grandson of the Tinkers, very innocent, to being not innocent after what happens to his parents. We never meet.
mm-hmm.
But it was a really good moment in that part of the book. I was actually really compelled with what I was reading when we got to that.
Oh
Um,
wow, yeah.
yeah, and I accidentally spoiled myself. I kind of know what happens with Aram accidentally, so I'm curious how that plays out. Um,
Ah, yeah. You've got to be so careful.
I don't know exactly what happens. I just know that a certain thing happens between him and a certain other character that we might
Mm-hmm.
have mentioned, not too long ago. So a master manipulator. So yeah, I accidentally, I didn't, actually I was trying to look something else up, and I accidentally found that out. So I don't know everything, so I'm curious how it pans out, and I hope it's decent.
Mm-hmm.
Hope it's a decent. I hope it's a decent thing.
Ah, I think that'll be. I don't think you're going to be disappointed, and I see why I got confused about the timeline here because of for one thing, all the parent thing to me runs all together because there's not a
Yeah,
lot of it on here.
because I,
Yeah, and
I
you're
I
right.
don't think it's until book 11 where this gets resolved. So
Oh,
I'm
it
I'm in
goes on
I'm in
forever.
I'm in I'm in the thick of it, because I started book 10. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
in the thick of it right now.
so when I was describing, that's all he's talking about. Yeah, you were right. That is in book 9, maybe even in book 10. But
Both.
yeah, I jumped ahead because I was thinking that was at the end of this book, but no, it is actually before. And like I said, I had my timeline off, but in my notes, I fucked up because basically that's all I guess I remember about him. If he goes on for 3 books, but yeah, definitely Misama. Um, he's to me just, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that character because he's a bit of a stereotype. Okay, here's the religious fanatic character, and I'm not entirely sure the larger reasoning behind like where he fits in the story. Maybe that's my fault.
I mean, we're just he's built up to be this other threat, this other big faction, and if like this book was trying to build up to him, and we barely get like a page with him at the end,
Yeah.
and then we get to book 9 and he's already off, and then he comes back in the final page of book 9 for a very different reason, um, and or the final page of Perrin's arc and all that. So it's just been very it's just been like the payoff just hasn't really been as satisfactory for all the all the all the groundwork, all the laying of groundwork and setup and all that. The payoffs just haven't been the best, in my opinion. So I mean, like I was expecting more with Mishima or something. It was just a single page of simple dialogue. Oh, we need to do this, and that's it.
Yeah, and I feel the whole way also about Perrin. It all runs together for me in this section of it. And I believe that if I had been reading this book as it came out, and then you have, like a year, 2 years in between, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4, I think I would have been going batshit crazy. I'd have been like, oh my gosh, it's been like 7 years since Perrin's done anything. Or where it's only a
Yeah.
few sentences here and there. Okay. Yeah. So that's basically it. And then, yeah, the climax of this story is Fail gets kidnapped. So you have Morghese, who's they don't know is Morghese because they don't know what she looks like. And so she has a different name and she gets kidnapped along with Fail and some of the other chicks by the Shido. And because Fail and them are not Aiel, they don't get to be the Gaitian, or are they treated like they're Gaitian even if they're not Gaitian? I forget. It was something to that effect because I know that the wise ones were like, "That's not their way." But in any case, they're pretty screwed by the end of this book, and of course, Perrin's like, "I will find her." It's very much a reminds me of a character that I used to watch on Days of Our Lives, John Black, who would be like, "I will find you, or Doc, I will find you." So that's going to be Perrin, and
Like Sansu the Hourglass. Sort
yeah,
of
like
thing.
it is a little bit soap opera, and Fail's a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. I I
Oh,
know why.
I think she's awful. I don't like her at all.
Yeah, and part of me is like, what do you see in her, dude? On the other hand,
Well,
you
she's the only person that he's ever really been with.
yeah,
He's only
I
he's probably never been with anybody else.
yeah
So before that, so it's you know that's probably why.
yeah, and
And then she comes back for him at the very end of Shadow Rising, or no, like right after like he marries her, at the tail end of Shadow Rising, and she comes back for him, and they save the day. She brings all the Watch Hill men. They attack the Trollocs from the side and defeat them and all that. Somehow, I don't know how, but they do.
yeah
That was another issue I had with that. The end of that book was like these watchmen, these typical these small farmers are managed to attack these big giant Trollocs, these hulking Trollocs from the side. And I'm just like with their simple weapons. So
yeah.
I mean,
Well, it is what it is.
I would probably have to reread that section again to get all the context. But I had a hard time believing that they were able to beat them like that.
Hmm.
But then again, they had Aes Sedai there too, so
Well,
maybe.
I was gonna say, but also in defense of Perrin, that you can't always choose who you fall in love with. Sometimes people just fall in love with people that are pains in the ass. But um,
From my
I
experience, you would definitely have to choose. You definitely can choose who you fall in love with, or you don't fall
yeah,
in love. Period.
perhaps. But and I guess sometimes I forget how young they are. They're barely 20 years old. So,
Yeah,
we're not talking about people with a lot of life experience either.
yeah, and the thing of with this story that's really hard to connect at times is the fact that things just kind of happen to them because of prophecy.
Yeah. Well, that too.
And it gets to the prophecy gets to the point where I just don't feel like the event is earned enough, to be honest, even though the prophecy was set up books ago. Like, I mean, I used to look forward to like book two. I loved all the prophecies, especially the dark prophecies, right, like
Hmm.
right when the Pan Fane gets away, and it's the entire dark prophecy about Lanfear coming back. That was great. That was good. And then they bring up
Hmm.
Isam, who was also uh, was another hey, this is going to happen later on. I thought that was interesting. Then they kept bringing up more and more prophecies to the point where I just started forgetting I started forgetting the prophecies because there were too many of them,
Yeah.
and
That
things just played out to kind of suit the prophecy, and it just didn't feel nearly as earned. I started getting tired of it, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And
It's
I got less interested, and I got less interested as a result. I'm still curious how the story ends. That's why I'm still reading it. But
Yeah. Well, I think I
sorry,
told you before.
I didn't mean to down it. I didn't mean to down
Yeah,
your.
let's all just cry. Well, no, I love it. You know that me, I just love living in this world. But to me, I just am inspired that I
Well,
need to reread
with a
this.
lot with the very little that happens, it's probably really safe to live in this world. Like I'm reading this, I don't feel like the end of the world is near. Sorry.
Well, no, I mean it's a free country and people can hate you for it.
Or I was expecting you to say you could be wrong.
You have every right to be wrong. But and okay, and before we move on to Rand, I just want to point out that in the White Tower, I want to talk about the Sane. Is that how you say it? Sayon and Pavara? That
Yeah.
they're two Aes Sedai that are plotting to find the Black Aja in the tower. They have figured out to use the oath rod to like unoath and then make them oath or swear that they're not the Black Aja or something. And many of them feel like it is an abuse of the oath rod, but they don't care. They give zero clucks because I guess that's the way that they can uncover who a Black Aja is. Um, so so now they've got like this little rebel thing inside of the Tar Valon. So you have the real rebels, which is led by Egwene, the alternate tower, and then you have the ones within. See who else is a part of it. It's Taline, Yukuri, and Dosine. Um, and they're going around and they're hunting the Aja. So that's kind of a little bit of a Black Aja, rather. That's going on inside the tower at the same time.
Yeah,
So,
we find out that Talene is she refuses to retake the oath.
mhm.
Uh-oh. What does that mean?
Dun.
Black Aja.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and they're using some, as I said, questionable methods, but I think that they're like, screw it, the end of the world is coming. Tarvalon, not Tarvalon, Tarmageddon is coming, and fuck it, we're gonna break the rules, and they do. Any means necessary, but yes, and finding everything they can to their advantages. So that's how it ends. There. Is there anything else going on? No. Okay, so now let's move
I'm
on.
trying to remember like what of Elviar and Elida were talking about. Um, because Elviaran knows like the Black Aja. One thing they know is that the Black Aja always knows what the Amarlin's going to do before everyone else does.
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to remember. Um, so yeah, so Elviaran gives her more instructions on what to recant and what to issue as new what to issue for new orders, because the blackmail continues. Like, oh, if they find
Yeah.
out that you bungled this this whole thing, yeah, they'll still you. And she gets scared, so now she's under Elida is now a puppet, like, completely. So um but
Yes.
the whole Tovane thing, if you want to talk about that really quickly. So Tovane is one of the Aes Sedai that comes out of exile to go, and she's ordered by Elida to go and destroy the Black Tower. All the all the Ashaman.
Oh yeah. Stupid names. Which name was that? Cadwayne. Wait, not
Tov
Cadwayne. That was someone else.
Tovane.
Tolvane. Yeah.
So she
Okay. Yeah.
goes. So she's leading a bunch of Aes Sedai
Hmm.
to the Black Tower to basically destroy them.
Yeah.
And on her way there, she gets ambushed by the dashing false dragon himself, Logain. Remember
Logan.
Logain?
Yes, I love it.
So Logain vanishes from the salad bar Aes Sedai, and we find out that he made his way to the Black Tower, and he is, well, it seems like he's at odds with the other false dragon, the Mihail himself.
Yep. Because he is well. Um, he's always had an issue. I know that, Taim, because he didn't like the whole idea of Rand trying to give him a rank, like he didn't accept it. So it would make sense that false dragons against false dragons would definitely not get along, because just like maybe even the Aes Sedai with their rival Amerlins, they don't share power very nicely.
Yeah, and Mihail was a name that Time gave himself, and
Mm-hmm.
we've Rand finds this out, like long time after the fact, like during the events of book 7.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so even like he hated the idea of, like, in book 6, Time was being crowned an Ashaman by Rand himself, and and Time looked like he wanted to throw up. Like he was
Yeah.
like he looked like he was gonna he looked like he looked like he wanted to just lash out, and Rand's like, "What the hell's the matter with you, dude?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Time, what the hell's the matter with you? Get a hold of yourself."
Yeah.
Um, and this was when a certain Forsaken was suspected of being Time. One of the Forsaken was suspected of being Mazrim Time.
Oh yeah, that the fact that he was acting the way he was acting, that it would definitely be that he's not really working on the side of good. And at the end of the book, yes, we talked about this, I believe, where he'd even said everything is going as we planned, or it worked out better than we thought. So
Yeah. So yeah, so Tovey and all those Aes Sedai get captured by the Ashaman, and
yeah.
that's that. So that gets bungled too. So there's a lot of Elida stuff that gets bungled. So I don't know about you, but I don't know what else there's to talk about other than getting into the battle.
Yes, I was gonna say is that now that we know that, and that Logain is Mr. Ashaman, we move on to Rand, who genuinely had some issues in this book. I mean, he is starting to lose his crap, and he has Min kind of there, kind of helping him out, but she's worried about him, and he's hearing more and more, with, um, of course, Luce Theron. And well, as you say, with the battle, because he's going up against a Sean Khan, and he decides to use the
Sean
sword.
Khan,
Wait, did I say? Is that right?
Sean Chan.
Sean Chan. Did I say Sean? Hey, for fuck's sake! I'm now you're gonna make me cuss again.
My,
Sean.
my name's my name's Bond, James Bond. Show accurate.
Sean. Hey,
Sean Khan,
this is the
Sean
way I hear
Connery.
these names in my head. I haven't had the
Hey, I
benefit
can't I
of.
can't blame you. He's a sexy guy, Sean Connery, or he was a sexy guy. I mean,
Yeah. Well, eventually, after I read and maybe even reread these books, I'll have everyone pronounced correctly. Well, especially because I'll probably be doing the reading,
yeah,
rather the audio.
there's a lot of names. I'm not certain myself I pronounce correctly. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, I want to say hello to Dadman Walking. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Um,
Hi,
yeah.
Deadman.
So, okay, how do you say it? You say it again because I said it
Sean
wrong.
Chan.
Sean Chan. Okay, we got the Sean Chan, and of course, they're the big bads, they're the big invaders, and Rand had, pretty much had success in almost all of his battles. Now, often it was using like things like the forbidden balefire and all that, but then again, he's not really bound by those rules for things like that are forbidden. And then as he's going up against them, he he has the sword. He's like, "Bring me the sword." And he's very erratic and very unstable. He made me very nervous in this book because you felt like he was just on the verge of doing something batshit crazy, almost like what Luce Theron did, where he just blew everyone to hell. And he came close to it, but he didn't mean to, because apparently he couldn't really control. How do you pronounce the sword? I'm very self conscious.
Calendar.
Kalendor. Okay. And he uses that, and he's like, "I'm the dragon. I'm cool." And not only is he blowing the Sean Chan to shit, he starts blowing his own people. And they're like, "Stop, stop. You're killing us. You're killing us."
Yes, you're killing us, man. You're killing us. To quote
Yeah,
a certain
exactly.
Davern Bashir. Yeah, he wanted to recreate the attack that he did during the Stone Stands, where he runs, grabs Kalendor, braces it up, and lightning kills all the Trollocs in the stone simultaneously. And he wanted to
Yes.
do the same thing to the Shanchan, but because of the fact that if they would have done that, there would have been like it probably wouldn't have worked out for the story. So Robert Jordan decided to create a limitation, and so he needs to, in order to have a stable use of Kalendor, he has to have someone. He has to link with someone.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, he has to link with a woman.
Yeah, it has to be both.
Yeah.
I like that though because that goes along with the theme of men and women working together and not against each other.
Needing each other. That's the
Yes.
big thing. That's why the world went to shit.
Yep.
The world went to shit during the Age of Legends was because the women did not the Aes Sedai, the women did not work with the men.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, well, the Dark One puts the taint on Saidin. And because of that, Saidin caused the breaking of the world, caused all the men to go insane.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and all of human life regressed because of it.
yep. And not unlike in our real world that hey, we got to work together, not be against each other, men and women. It's
Yep.
we complement each other, um, but we're different. And I know why everything I've learned about the TV show, why they downplayed a lot of that aspect of it, because how dare they have it that men and women have to work together? Um,
Yeah, and the Dragon Reborn could be anybody. It could be a
yeah, it
man.
could
It
be
could
a
be a
woman, be a
girl.
man.
It could be a. Like, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to
Yeah,
go there.
yeah, we're not going to go there because we never know what's going to happen. But in any case, yes. So Rand does that, and I mean, I was genuinely horrified by the thing. I mean, I knew something was going to go bad because, for crying out loud, it was almost foreshadowed that hey, Rand, you're being a little too like Anakin in Revenge of the Sith when he's like, "You underestimate my power," and he goes to use it, and of course, it's a complete disaster, and they retreat. Let's see, um, it's just really awful, and
Yeah,
um,
the hardest part of this was when we find out who some of the casualties were at the end of this book.
yeah,
And I think this attributes to because Robert Jordan himself went to Vietnam as a young man, and he probably knew a bunch of young men that died,
mm-hmm,
that didn't have a chance for life. And two of the youngest Ashaman both die at the end of this book. One gets killed by Rand during the whole, you're killing us, man. He gets fried, and of course the other one at the very end.
yeah,
I think I forget what this one is. It's I think the one at the end is Fedwin Moore,
yeah. The little
and
boy, he's only 14.
yeah, and the one during the battle. I'm trying to remember who it was. Um, that died.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, oh, you mean that died in the actual battle. Yeah, well, and of course the whole idea of friendly fire, that was a huge thing in Vietnam because they were sitting there
Yeah,
fighting the way they did. A lot of people in all wars die of friendly fire, but for certain, yeah, I forget who.
I think his name was Hopwell.
Yeah.
So yeah, so one died. One died in this battle, and then the other one died at the very end because of well, the
The
taint, the
craziness.
the, the,
Yeah.
the craziness got him, and they had to put him down basically. And and
Yeah.
and and a certain Mazrim time was there, and he didn't really care.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you feel like time is kind of well, he's getting plotting. You can just feel the way he's responding. Now, if I'm correct here, I don't want to spoil this at the end. This was not. Let me see. It was this was where the plot happened, right? Isn't that what happened at the end too? Um, give me a second. Well, it won't be a spoiler, but the thing blows up at the end. I could have sworn that's what happened. The attempt on his life, on Rand's life. Oh wait, let me get this down here.
Yeah, yeah. Someone. Yeah. So the guy that the Gregoran guy in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
that he was the one of the Ilianer, he actually tries to kill him. He tries to kill him with an arrow, and Rand was able to get him before Rand. He missed Rand, and Rand got him basically. That was the first one, and then the second one was some foul play was going on. Who I think a certain High Lord Weramon was um, responsible for. I think some of the Sean Chan got to Rand or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, here just a second. Well, yeah, they tried to blow, but maybe I feel like I'm going crazy. This is what they tried to blow him up, though.
Yeah, so he gets actually, Rand gets wounded, so he's on his horse, and he falls. He gets hit by an arrow on the arm, and then
Yeah.
the Shawad Chants start coming for him, and and one of the other forces comes and saves him. The one that was coming from the north, where Weramon was supposed to be, holding them back and all that. Well, he failed to do that, and then, of course, they come and they rescue him, and they fight them off.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking about when they actually bomb the Sun Throne.
Oh, that's later. That's at the
Oh
very end.
yeah. Okay. Oh, you jumped in. Oh yeah, because I was kind of like, yeah, there was that, and then
Yeah, we didn't
uh,
talk about the two attempts on him. So, like, there was twice during these four chapters, these four battle chapters, that Rand nearly gets killed, and
mm-hmm,
this is kind of where I kind of said, I actually was a little more intrigued by these chapters, because Rand is not the all powerful. Rand is no longer OP, crazy OP. Like, there's still a vulnerability that he could get killed, and that brings about a good amount of suspense,
yeah.
and that was something that kept me turning the pages for this portion of the book. That's kind of what saved this book for me. I probably would have hated this book if these four chapters were not in it.
Uh, well, definitely the chapters with Rand were incredibly strong, and we are seeing him go through, for lack of a better word, hell. I mean, this guy is being dragged through everything, and we were warned that this is what was going to happen to him. That being the Dragon Reborn was not going to be the most fun thing on the planet, and he wasn't going to be, if
Yeah, and
you
they're
will, like
there, and
rewarded.
then it's like you're getting this fog of. I mean, the chapter's literally called Fog of War, so we're getting this fog of war type of story, where,
Hmm.
like, we don't know what's going on. There's lack of communication going on between people, and Rand finds himself in a vulnerable state because of that. Even with all of his power, a stray arrow could kill him if he's not paying attention.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and that was shocking. I agree with you, because how vulnerable and is he supposed to be? And technically, it's like, no, he's supposed to stay alive until the last battle. How could that have happened or possibly happened?
Exactly. So, um, who we didn't talk about yet? We didn't talk about our the greatest Aes Sedai ever.
Cad Swain.
Yeah, I mean, as far
I
as
was
I'm
actually going to
concerned,
mention her.
I'm surprised. Why doesn't she just lead the last battle? Apparently, she's got everything. She's got more than what Rand has. So why
Well,
not?
she's not the Dragon Reborn. Now, she definitely has something going on with her in this. And now Rand, of course, doesn't trust her, and I think he's very uh, right to say so. And I don't feel like Cad Swain is like. Do you feel like she's like a bestest ever? I didn't get that.
Not well. She's. I'm at the point where I'm not really like. They could go into more of her history and make her more interesting, but at this point, like it's just like, why should I? Why? I mean, as we've come this far with Rand, why does he have to listen to this person who just showed up a book ago? This
Mhm.
character that was just simply created. I mean, a lot of people say that she was created to replace Moraine. Um,
Hmm.
so I don't know, but so now he goes to her because Min tells her, oh, you need her, and so he goes to her, and she's like, well, I'm gonna lay the law down right now. You're gonna listen to me, and you're not gonna talk back, and you're not gonna lie to me either,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna do what's good for you, not for the good, not for the tower. And you're gonna be civil with me. You're not gonna talk that. You're not gonna talk back to me. You're not gonna do anything. And don't you dare channel at me, and you must control your temper and all that. And yeah, so she's giving him she's giving him some tough love, basically, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, because she wants him to learn what it means to laugh again, to laugh and to cry and to, I don't know, I forget what exactly it is she says to Sorelia, because she
Yeah.
tells Sorelia what her intention is, and it's to get rid of this, to get rid of Rand's um, nihilism, I guess you could say. Like
Yeah.
he,
Well,
because when he laughs and like,
look, he's a madman.
yeah, yeah. Well, he's not mad. No, he's not a madman. He's so he's like he's like stone. Like
Mhm.
his heart is hardening to the point where um he could possibly not come back from that. He can't reverse that, basically.
Yeah. Well, I since I have read ahead of you, I'll just wait till we have the verdict on who she is. But yeah, she definitely is there, and she's the oldest Aes Sedai, so of course she would,
Which
you
means
know.
she's younger than all the kin that
Well,
we
that's
find
true.
out.
That I love the way that everyone got horrified by the kin when they realized, oh my gosh, they're older and perhaps even more powerful than we are, and that they've been around longer than the oldest of the Aes
Yeah,
Sedai.
I kind of like I'm kind of that's one thing I'm kind of annoyed. Like Aes Sedai are supposed to be this big, organization, and you find out they're weaker than the kin, they're weaker than the wise ones. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm kind of disappointed. Like I
Yeah.
thought the Aes Sedai were supposed to be these powerful, you didn't mess with them, and then you find out that they're weaker than everybody. Maybe that maybe that
Maybe
was maybe that was the point, but it just came it just seems disappointing. Like it makes, especially like the Black Ajah character Galena and all that. Like she's weaker than half of the wise ones that captured her in the Shido.
hmm.
And I accidentally found out what happens to her, and I didn't like it. I hated it when I found out what happens to her ultimately, because I haven't gotten to book 11, but I accidentally found out what happens to her. I hated that. It's like Ramsay getting away with Theon in Game of Thrones or
Yeah.
Dance with Dragons. It's well, kind of like, maybe not quite, but kind of close. I don't like the idea of a tormentor winning,
I see what you're saying.
even if the victim is evil, or even if the victim was evil. I don't like the idea of a tormentor getting winning and getting away with, you know because all this buildup of tormenting this character. You know what I
Mm.
was hoping? Well, I'll get into this when we get to book 11.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think that Jordan,
I
he,
had this talk with Prophet of the Dragon. He gave me some insight into why he feels it was justified, and so I'll have to read it, and and find out for myself. So
Yeah, because to me, the execution of Robert Jordan's ideas, I mean, I know where he's going with all of this, and I like it because he makes us think. And, kind of like what you're saying about the Aes Sedai, is that, well, it's maybe questioning some of our institutions, that they think that they're
they
all
think that they know. They think that they know everything. That's something. Another thing that Steve has said. They think they know everything, but they don't know shit.
Yeah, or they do, but because there's so many of them that are wise and good and that they are ultimately a force for good and the tower is important, but sometimes you can get complacent, you can get prideful and you can get blind. And that's what happens even in the best of us in human institutions, religious institutions, and that we
It's,
always need to be on guard for that. So that's where I feel he's going with this.
and I mean, the Aes Sedai, the White Tower, is basically the church. I mean, it's
Hmm.
been around for thousands of years, and in this world, 3,000 years, you know, and
Yeah.
it's survived every major cataclysm. You had the Trolloc Wars, you had the Arthur Hawkwing, siege of the
Mhm.
White Tower, um, and it even, of course, it survived the breaking of the world. So it's been through all that.
Yeah. And it's
While
still
while while
standing.
nations have been crumbling around it, the White Tower has remained.
Yeah. It's like it's a leaky vessel, but yet stays afloat. And staying afloat is what's important. And wow, we're getting deep here. Yeah, let's get to the blow up because I loved that part.
Oh,
Call
can
me
we
terrible.
before we get to the blow up, we gotta talk about the Dark Friends. There's a little segment with Dark Friends. There's a few things that happen with Elaine. So
Oh
remember,
yes, yes, yes,
remember,
yes.
remember. So they're getting close to Camelin. So they go through. They went through the gate. They took care of the Shan Chan, and then one of the two sisters, one of the two old sisters that helped Moraine with finding additional information about the prophecies of the dragon, Adelaus and Vandine from Arafel. Well, Adelaus was the one that was watching Ispan, the dark friend, the Black Aja, and they are both found dead.
Mm,
And so Adelaus, being non-Black Aja, being a non-dark friend, simply gets her throat cut.
mm-hmm.
Uh, the dark friend Ispan, if I remember correctly, gets what does she get? She gets like impaled through the heart. She gets like a really awful death. Like Dark Friends, and then we'll get to the next one. We'll get to the next part. The Dark Friends get really, really gruesome deaths by their
Yeah,
by their own associates
yeah,
if they fail. And yeah, so Ispan gets like I think she gets impaled to her bed. And I remember reading, I was like, whoa, this is I wasn't expecting this in a Lane chapter. What is going on?
yeah,
Yeah, I know I'm awful. I'm awful. Um, man, what do you think of like that? That just came out of nowhere,
yeah. Um, let
which
me
is
see some. Oh, never mind. Okay, Stieg and them are saying something back and forth. I was like, I don't remember that part of the book. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, very brutal. Well, it just goes to show you that evil is just evil to evil, and that nobody is more evil than evil people. If that makes sense, you know what I mean. Like the whole of
like the Dark Friends get off more than the heroes. Like who are you? I mean, it's just at this point, like I think I honestly like I think evil is more terrifying when they unify.
yeah,
When they don't
but
unify and they do all this crap, it's really hard. So like right now, like I am not excited for the last battle because I'm not taking any of this evil seriously. Like they're simply offing each other. I mean, we'll talk about the end of book 9 when we get to it. But I don't really take the Forsaken that seriously. Now,
Oh,
maybe a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, that's Robert Jordan's intent was to do that." Okay, fair enough. The Forsaken represent different aspects of evil. I get it, and evil doesn't like, especially people high. Like you have 13 Forsaken. Are they going to work together?
no, they
Well,
can't.
no. Well, now they have Moradin to kind of rein them in. So, um,
Yeah. But in general, that's the whole very nature of evil. And that's why they always end up losing, is because they aren't capable of it. And but that still doesn't make them any less dangerous, because people that will destroy each other, they'll destroy you too. But I mean, I have a completely different
I,
perspective
I
on
I
that.
feel the characters are too safe in this. They'll be fine. Most of them will be, at least. I'm kidding.
Well, I we do know that they're gonna be making it to the Tarmageddon, or at least most of them will, because of the Taveran thing. And Steek says, Asmodean did the most damage out of all of them. He riled up the Shido. The long term effects of that are enormous. Yeah, it's like sometimes the actions of evil are the ones you don't actually see, the stuff that they mess around with behind the scenes, if you will,
Yeah,
instead
all
of
all
punching
to
from the front.
yeah, all to distract Rand while he was trying to sneak into Rodian to get the Choden Kill, which is what they use in the next book.
Hmm.
Um, and they fight over it. Yeah. So yeah, actually, yeah, I thought that was an interesting diversion. I actually like that. I I was annoyed initially about how that book ended, but then I reread the chapter for us. I really enjoyed that chase with him and Asmodean. So
Hmm. Oh yeah.
um, the Alkir Dell stuff I like too. I was expecting like shit to hit the fan in Alkir Dell, and it did, but Lanfear ruined it for me.
Oh, well, Lanfear. Um, what a gal. So, in any case, yeah. So they are definitely, yeah, killing each other, and they don't have any mercy, and which is very much in keeping with what we know of demons. So
Yeah, and we
that's maybe
find
why I take it. I do take them seriously when I say take them seriously, if you will, because it's like, no, I know this. Like, I know these people.
yeah,
I like.
and yeah. Sorry, keep going,
Oh no, I
keep
was
going.
just gonna say, very much like when the on Elfie goes, Santa, I know him, but in a bad way. It's like, no, this is the language of evil, and so to me, it is logical that they're turning on each other the way that they are. To me, it wouldn't be realistic if they were, because darkness cannot create, as they say, that quote from Tolkien. It cannot create; it can only destroy. So it makes sense that would include destroying each other.
Fair, fair. Okay. And of course, we get this other segment right here, and I was very surprised how brutal this part was. So apparently, this guy, his name is David Hanlon, goes into this house, and he sees two people bound to a table. They're hogtied. Their heads are sticking out from this table. Their heads are strapped to the table. So they're hogtied under the table, and their heads are strapped to the table. And they have at least they both have this block of wood in their mouth with a bored hole. And she's like, buddy, I think you've failed long enough. I think Moradin is done with you. And you know how you like to drink? You like your brandy, right? Huh? You like brandy, don't you? And she has her henchman pour brandy down the bored hole into this guy's throat, and we find out it's Jacob Carradine, the guy known as Bors, the guy who we first meet in the beginning of the Great Hunt, and all
Yeah,
that. And this is how he dies. He gets drowned with brandy
yeah. Well, it was,
by
yeah, the
Lady,
cast.
yeah, by Lady Shane.
Yeah. The liquid was pouring from the cask onto the funnel, turning his cry to gurgling. The rough smell of crude brandy filled the air. Secured as he was, the man fought, thrashing about, even managed to heave the table sideways, but the brandy kept pouring. Bubbles rose up in the funnel as he tried to shout or scream, but the steady stream never stopped or never faltered. I mean, damn. It's
Yeah.
in the back of my head. I was thinking about the king during, but not the king, the king's brother during the War of the Roses, who that's how he was killed by drowning in a vat of wine.
I was going to ask. I was going to ask if like the way that Jordan paints this picture that describes like this method of of torture, like if I was curious if that was based off of um any real methods from history.
Yeah. Well, the only one that came to mind was about he was the middle brother of Edward IV, I believe, if I have the numbers right. That he basically was murdered, and they dunked his head in wine.
So what they just dunk his head like that, or did they?
They dunked him. Yeah, they didn't pour it
Or
down with a funnel.
did they stick a block of wood in his mouth or something? I'm curious. I'm curious if anything like that's happened, or if this was all Robert Jordan's creativity right here.
It could be, but definitely it harkened back to that for me, and I would need to double check the name. The name is escaping me, but yeah, if you want to look that up, it was not a pleasant way to die.
No,
but yeah, that was a good killing. Yeah, it was shocking, and so that's where you're saying to yourself, sometimes you're thinking, "Oh, Robert Jordan, he's such a nice guy. So this is tame, it's not like, Martin, but I hate that too, because that's always exaggerated as well. And then boom, you see something like this and you're like, dang. And he doesn't hold back with these people. I mean, they're bad people. And I like that. He said in an interview that I saw with him that he liked fantasy because it was a medium where you could basically show evil is evil and good is good. No ambiguity about this stuff. And so I think that he does a very good job of showing that.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, and of course it wasn't just so that was Jacob Carradine. And I'll be honest, I was kind of, I mean, it was brutal. I mean, it was an effective scene. It was brutal. I was kind of disappointed that Carradine never really encountered any of our heroes at all.
Nope, not at all. No,
I was surprised. So I was kind of disappointed in that. So, but that's just me.
Well, I think he has to be for a long time because of Morghese,
and
everyone would recognize Morghese.
And I think he was alive too long, personally. So, yeah. Like he got humiliated as early as the Dragon Reborn, when Pedro Nile humiliates him, gets him, basically, puts him in a hard place. And then you have Shader Haran version 0 paint him in another hard place. So now he's got two conflicting orders. He has to protect the Dragon Reborn, and he has to kill the Dragon Reborn, or find the Dragon Reborn and kill him. And if he doesn't, well, all of his family, every month, one person in his family will get killed. Well, we find out that everyone in his family got killed, and he's the last one. So they get him. And I know that Lady Shane is the woman from the first book that tries to murder Rand when he was dealing with the sickness of channeling, and Matt saves him. But instead of killing her, Matt simply locks her in the barn as they escape, because Matt doesn't want to kill a woman. And well, that has some consequences, I guess.
Yeah, everything does.
And then I think, if I remember correctly, in book 7, right before Samael encounters Jacob Carradine, I think he, I think Jacob Carradine humiliates her and causes her some pain. Like I think he nearly dislocates her shoulder or something like that. And so this was her sweet revenge on him. You mess with her,
Yeah.
you're dead. You mess with her, she'll kill you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you don't want to mess with her. Yeah, I agree. Well, and then let's really get to the blowing up part because we need to wrap up this party. Uh, at the very end, Rand is minding his own business, kind of hanging out with men, and they were in the bedroom. And then all of a sudden, he walks out, and thank goodness he did because big old bomb goes off to blow it up. And I like the way they described it. It was like they felt like it was something that just knocked him down. And so it was an assassination attempt. And of course, they go and they looked. And of course, they found out that it was his own people that did it. And part of it was because, I guess, out of the revenge for what happened at the battle when he, blew up so many of them. So I was kind of sad about the way that went down.
Yeah, that was his own people. Well, we find out that the main culprit is the Shiva, and we find out that one thing that Jordan likes to do when he tries to hint to the reader the identity of a character is by continually describing the character in a particular way. In this case, the Shiva was a plain-looking person, and
Ah.
who else was a plain-looking person? Well, I think a Forsaken was described like that. So, but
Oh,
that will
okay. I
be
didn't
revealed
know.
in book 9. So
Understood.
so yeah. So Dashiva, Roshade, Gedwin. And I forget who the fourth one is. Um,
Yeah. I
um,
love it though that he came upon them. Well, before I say that, I want to point out that as right before he goes out to hunt them down, he has Fedwin there and he says, "Can I trust you?" And he goes, "With your life, my lord." He said, "I'm That's what I'm trusting you with." And he's like, "Guard her with your life more for men," while he goes to get them. So he was like, "Protect men with your life." So my heart, that he loves her that much. And I like the way that he came upon them. He was hearing them telling you, he was came across Davisha and Gedwin, and they're like, "Yeah, he's dead." And if Dasheva saw Rand at the head of the stairs, and the only warning that he had was a sudden snarl that contorted Dasheva's face. And of course, then they channel. But I just imagine Rand coming upon them and them seeing him and being like, "Oh shit." Well, obviously, and then
yeah, because they had a time like he was going to be in the room, and it was because of Sorelia that randomly just says, "Hey, Cat Swain's still in the palace." And it's like, okay, I'll go see her. And that's why he got saved. Basically, he didn't go to his room, he didn't retire to his chambers, he decided to go and see her. And then boom, terrorist attack.
yeah,
So
I know I loved it. I actually was very surprised about that. And then, of course, um, oh yeah, Taim. That's when Taim shows up, and he's like, "You come here holding Sidene, Taim?" And then I don't know, and he's sitting there going on, and he's saying, Taim is saying, "I've come to report deserters." And he said, "I knew that they were malcontented over events in Alterra, but I never thought they would go this far." And
did he
then,
now? Did he now? I'm curious about that.
yeah, and then they look at poor little Fedwin, who now has like the mind of a child, He's been made crazy, and Rand's like, the wisdom of my village could cure anything. And he smiled at the boy and had a cup, and he goes, she knows more about herbs than anyone I ever met. And he goes, sleep, Fedwin. And then the he went to sleep. This is what we were talking about earlier about Fedwin. Basically, it's a mercy killing. And Rand looks and says, a little something in the wine, because that's something that Taim had been doing with the men that went crazy in the black thing, the Black Tower, that they would give him something in the wine to let them peacefully pass instead of going batshit crazy. And then Taim goes, you're harder than I thought. And Rand smiled at him, a hard, feral smile. Add Corlin Dasheva to your list of deserters. Next time I see the Black Tower, I expect to see his head on your traitor's tree. I love it. I thought that was just really good. And then he goes, return to the Black Tower and don't come here again.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the tension between the two of them, and I also like...
That was the highlight. That was the highlight of the beginning of Lord of Chaos,
Yeah. Beryl makes everything better. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, yeah. And so that's basically how the book ends. Went out a little bit with the whimper, as you said earlier, not a big battle, but a satisfying ending. I liked it.
Yeah,
and
the ending was fine. I wasn't bored. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that last chapter with with Rand, just trying to like being very cautious, trying to get to to Shiva and the rest of them. And yeah, the battle was good for the most part. The idea that Rand was vulnerable made it compelling. I mean, the whole fog of war, the whole uncertainty of battle. I mean, and I mean, yeah, some of the brutality like that the segment with the Dark Friends offing each other was pretty brutal. It's hard to forget that. And yeah, Fael gets captured. Yay. She's no longer in the story, right? So wrong.
Yeah, I was about ready to say it begins. So it begins. Yeah.
How has it come to this?
I missed Matt. I like Matt a lot, so I wish he had been in it, but I'm sure we'll be seeing more of him. As well, we know that we will be. So in any case, I thought this was a good book. I mean, it's not even close to something like The Great Hunt. I almost feel like it's unfair for some of these middle books to try to give them scores out of 10, because I almost feel like they're one big book, like this middle area.
Yeah,
But
it's kind of hard to distinguish. It was hard for me to distinguish what happens in each book because of how slow the story gets. Like the story doesn't move that much, and from book 7 to now, I mean, there's things that happen, more things happen in book 7, but from book 7 to 10, it's very, very slower paced.
yeah. Well, and like what we were saying earlier about Perrin, not a lot. I'm kind of there, and I even got the timeline confused because I was thinking, oh, he's looking for Fael. It's like, oh no, we didn't even get to that. Yeah, you're right, because at the end, that's where Fael is kidnapped, and then we have all of that, and of course, no Matt at all. I enjoy it. I forgive him for it. I would be singing maybe a different tune, or I might have been singing a different tune back in 1999. I forget when this one came out. But
98.
yeah, 98. Like if I was waiting for these and I'd be like, oh, really? Now I've got to wait more for this. Because like I was just able to go right into them and keep watching. And I did enjoy them in that sense. So objectively speaking, probably I'd have to give this a 6 out of 10, but Again, I'm just reluctant to give it a score because I don't think it would be fair to do so. I said earlier, I love it. I enjoyed it. I read these very quickly, so I can't say that they weren't page turners for me, or that I wasn't enjoying it, or I wasn't getting into the story. But as far as a book, if this was like, oh my gosh, let's talk about our favorite book, like automatically The Great Hunt came to my mind. I don't think The Path of Daggers will ever be coming to my mind when I talk about, oh, the best book in the Wheel of Time.
That's fair. Same here. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. Robert Jordan was doing discovery writing, so this is what part of the fruits of his effort. So
Yeah.
and he took a little bit more time with this too. So
Yeah. And I know that, you and I have a different experience of our enjoyment level of this, because if I my
yeah,
enjoyment level of these books,
yeah.
so far my
I
enjoyment level is 9, 10 out of 10. I'm loving them.
yeah, and I just want to be done with this.
Mm. Well, then catch up
Like,
to me.
yeah. I mean, I'm trying. I read like maybe a couple paragraphs or a page, and then I fall asleep.
Well, we'll see. Maybe some things will happen. I don't want to give anything away, obviously. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to tell you
Yeah, I
that
mean,
the last
sometimes
few books are going to go faster because they've got to wrap it
sometimes
all up.
yeah, sometimes I accidentally find out spoilers, and I'm not happy with the spoilers that I find out. So
Oh,
that's
I,
another issue I have with Wheel of Time.
we see. I've been very careful to curate ignorance, and so far I've done
Well,
a very good
I
job.
think it's easier. I think it's easier for me than get being disappointed, like reading something and then being disappointed.
Mm,
I think it's easier. I'll ease into it better.
interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. We shall see. I can't wait to finish this though, because then I can start looking up things. Like, I'm afraid to even go to any wikis or anything, because I'm afraid like the first line will
I
be,
have to because I don't know who I'm reading. I don't know who these characters are. Are these new characters? Are these characters that were in a previous book that completely forgot about? I don't know who I'm reading. That's
yeah,
another issue I have reading these. I'm like, who are these characters? Like
yeah,
at least with Martin, you have a glossary of all the characters, of all the names of all the characters and who they're related to and what houses they're part of. You don't have that with this. You have maybe a few characters in the glossary, and that's it. So
yeah,
I have to look up who these characters are, so I know. Like I need to know who they are, so if they're connected to other storylines from earlier books. Because if I don't know that, then I'm not going to be interested or invested at all. And that's
yeah.
kind of why I have to look them up.
Interesting. Well, I can get that. And who knows, maybe that's why I sometimes get so confused, is because it is confusing. Because I am not looking it up, and I'll wait to the end. That's why I'm sure the second read through, and I am going to reread these, it's going to be a lot easier, and I will be able to go to those wikis. So I do understand that, but that's also how you get spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of why spoilers don't bother me because of what Stig says. Like, if I don't know the context, then I mean, it's finding out the context that is what will make it worth it or not. Because if you watch enough anime or Japanese shows, like if a character dies in an episode, the title will say the character this character dies something something something, and
Mm,
it's the mystery is not them dying; it's the mystery of how they die and whether they die
yeah.
well and whether their death is in vain or not. Usually it's never in vain, but you know what I mean. So
Well,
like if I learn a character dies, well, I'm kind of curious what the context is, what the circumstances behind it are.
sure.
So
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. And in the execution, and that's where it all is. And I'm just really waiting to be done. I think I'm gonna be able to finish it probably like the whole Wheel of Time. I think I'll be done by the end of November. So fingers crossed. All right, well, we're going to wrap up this party. Want to first of all thank everyone that's been here. We've had Steve, Ancient One, we had Dadman Walking in here, we had the Nosferatu, the Vampire DJ, Play Nice, Rebel Rose, and then of course we have had Brian. And Brian, what's going on? Can you tell people where we can find you and what you have coming up?
Sure. Corporeal Lifeform is my channel. Um, I'm on X as well at Corporeal Life. The next thing I'm doing is a corporeal with a guy named the Quiz. He's called the Questioners. So he's based off of the Questioners, so the Wheel of Time. So he's kind of connected to the White Cloaks. I've never had him on. I've talked to him. I've talked to him before. He does his own little thing. And I invited him to do a corporeal with me for this Sunday, which was his availability. So we'll talk Wheel of Time. He's about as knowledgeable as Dane and Pips about Wheel of Time, and of course I've argued with him on how I feel, and he's like, "Oh no," you're wrong. This is one of the best things ever. I'm like, I don't think so.
So, well, I think you need to wait till you're done. I think that might help too. Who knows? Or maybe you'll disagree with everybody.
I'm already disagreeing with everybody.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna. I'm already kind of preparing myself. I'm preparing myself for being underwhelmed. Basically, I mean, everybody really propped up the series a lot, and I mean, there were points where I did agree that there was like the end of Lord of Chaos. I think was excellent, but a lot of people propping up the series, I don't agree with. Like the reads are not nearly as enjoyable as I was hoping, and it's a thing, but apparently a lot of people have DNF'd. A lot of people like it. The series sold millions because of really because of its first 3 books that were really strong, and then book 4 was really strong in some of its stories too. But book 4 started losing me with Tanchico. The Tanchico storyline I did not like.
Okay. Steek says, if you're prepping to be in Rome, you will be. Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Not necessarily. There were times where I've been pleasantly surprised. So that's not always the case.
Yeah, so maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. We'll see.
I mean, book 6, I was not expecting the end of Lord of Chaos to be as good as it was. So.
Ooh, okay. Well, I guess it's time for me to go because I'm starting to get tired. But hey, I want to thank you for being here, and thank you everyone in the chat. Stay tuned to Miss Martin Muses and my Catholic Explaining if you still racking up the watch hours. So if anyone wants to help me out with that, please feel free to do so. And yeah, and of course we'll be doing the next book. What's the one that comes after this one? The ninth
Winter's
one.
Heart. Winter's Heart.
Oh, okay, Winter's Heart. Alrighty, so you all have a good evening, and be certain to read good fantasy and things that make you happy.